All right, 5. It's be the second time I've done this one because I caught typos last time. These are the first things I'm going to look at. What these do is they restrict the window. Domain is from -4 to 4. Notice the parentheses. These are dashed lines. The graph can never touch them. It can get close. It's +4. The range is -4 to 6. That's a parentheses on the -4. But on the 6, it's a solid line. Whatever I draw is going to be drawn in here. Okay? I've talked about that, so I'm going to throw it away. Got some x-intercepts here. There's one at -2, 0. There's one at 3, 0. There's a y-intercept at 0, 4. There's 3 nice points. And now I get to talk about what some of this other stuff is. This right here, these are not ordered pairs. Don't make that mistake. That is an interval. They're not ordered pairs. The graph is below the x-axis from x equals -4 to x equals -2, not including, because it touches the x-axis at 2, and from x equals 3 to x equals 4. So I don't know exactly what's going to happen over here, but I know it's below the x-axis, okay? Something's going to happen there. I don't know how it's going to happen. I could do this with curves, but I'm just going to do this. And I'm going to put an open hole there because it doesn't actually touch that place. And it doesn't really tell you any other things, like it tells you where the slope, it tells you where the graph is positive. It says we are increasing from -4 to 1, and we have to run into this. So this thing's going to peak somewhere around here. Let's just put it all the way to the top because that would be increasing. They don't tell you what the slope is. They just tell you whether it's increasing or not. Open hole right there. I'll intersect there. We're decreasing from 1 until we hit this 4, and I've got to connect to this 3. And I'm going to make sure that the rest of this stuff makes some sense. Your graph might look different than mine, but there's my little graph. And it is positive from where x is -2 to x is 3. Until we hit 3, then 0. And again, yours might look different. You might have chosen to change some slopes around. This point right here could be somewhere else. It could be a little bit lower, but that graph satisfies it. The only other one I'm going to do is going to be 6. Identify the key features of this graph. Domain and range, you ought to know this by heart by now. Domain is -infinity to infinity. That's your domain. Your range, looks like we're counting by 2s. Looks like it's -9 up. -9 to infinity. The x and y intercepts, order pairs. Let's talk about the x-intercepts first. We've got one back here at -4, 0. And we have one at 2, 0. Our y-intercept, there's one of them. It's down here at 0, -8. On what intervals is the function positive? It's there and there. It is positive from -infinity to -4. And union with 2 to infinity, because that's where it is above the x-axis. She is negative, which means below the x-axis, from -4 to 2. The function is increasing from here on up. So the function is increasing from -1 to infinity. It is decreasing on the left-hand side from -infinity to -1. And then they want the average rate of change over the interval from -3 to 2. And you can do this with a graph. -3 will touch the graph right here, and there's 2. Or you can use the formula. I don't really care. I'm just going to count these little blocks. It looks to me like we rose 10 blocks. And what did we run? Oh, we also ran 10 blocks. So it's 1. The average rate of change on that interval happens to be 1. You can actually see it. You see the big square there? I did all that math. You covered 1 square on the line. That's all I care to do with that homework, because I did a whole bunch of it. I did all the ACT questions in number 10. So what is that? That's 11 questions. Those two makes 13, and there just weren't that many on this thing. So I've done well over half of it already. Hopefully it was enough for you. You don't have to figure out too much.